joy and disgust is not the same as apathy. A smile, up tune, tunes forward tune. You said that harmony was the shackles of you. You always shine violent green. I never understood the frequency. What's the frequency? Can I fish your bins to drain? But if I decoy you, view me a dog and insane. You smile like cartoon, tooth forward too. You said that harmony was the shackles of you. You always shine violent green. I never understood the frequency. You are expressions like an amateur. I couldn't understand. You said that harmony was the shackles of you. I couldn't understand. You are a shine violent green. I couldn't understand. I never understood. Don't quit me.
The film you're about to see has no characters. If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter. existence solely and completely to sound.
432 hertz is the God frequency. That's the celestial frequency. And we have a telestial and a terrestrial frequency. Darn right. She says that why when people are true, we can feel it and we can sense it. We know that it's right. You know, we don't even have to research it. We know, we can feel it. We feel it in our bodies and our spirits and our souls, and we know it's right.
By the way, 528 hertz is the love vibration or the DNA healing vibration.
By the way, 528 and 633 and 432 are our three frequencies, okay? So it depends on whether you're celestial, telestial, or terrestrial. That's 60. 60. What is 5G? What is our clock's been running at? 60. All of our electricity, 60. We've been under Satan for a long time. This is a satanic frequency. It's really celestial, telestial, and terrestrial, believe it or not. Our church teaches that as 3 degrees of heaven, but it's really our three frequencies. Our souls are energy. The energy holds our minerals together, which is our bodies. Our bodies are nothing more than the dust of the earth, held together by energy, by our souls.
Gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the National Press Club Federal Communications Commission Chairman Tom Wheeler.
It's an honor to be here at the National Press Club. The first generation wireless, 1G, was voice. The second generation, 2G, allowed both talk and text. The third generation, 3G, the internet, in a limited way. And today's technology, 4G, completed that digital migration. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way.
You must consider the whole part played by electricity in nature. Human beings cannot go on developing in the same way in an atmosphere permeated on all sides by electric currents and radiations. It has an influence on the whole development of man. This life of men in the midst of electricity, notably radiant electricity, will presently affect them in such a way that they will no longer be able to understand the news which they receive so rapidly. The effect is to damp down their intelligence. Such effects are already seen today. Even today, you can notice how people understand the things that come to them with far greater difficulty than they did a few decades ago. Rudolf Steiner, 1924. Rudolf Steiner noted that in 1924, since then our atmosphere has become far more permeated with electric waves of widely diverse types. There's no doubt now that electric waves, electromagnetic forces, cause direct biological effects. There's thousands of peer-reviewed papers on this subject. There's no doubt about it. But what are these effects? How are they affecting us? What can we do about it? We're now at a stage where we're putting in what's called 5G, which is a special type of broadcast for high-density information transfers. And it turns out that this is the same frequency bands that are used in crowd dispersal weaponry.
Well, I joined the Royal Navy in 1960, and I specialised in microwave warfare. Radar, obviously, which uses microwave, but they don't just teach you radar, they teach you all about microwaves and other uses. So I understood about microwave warfare and how it can damage people, how it can harm people. Microwaves then were used as weapons, as they are today. It is a perfect stealth weapon, and when governments don't like a group of people, For instance, the ladies who protest at Greenham Common in England about the American missile base they camped, they were microwaved. We microwaved Catholics in Northern Ireland to make them sick. It goes on all over the world, and it's a weapon that you don't know you're being targeted because the dose is very, very low, which is actually more dangerous than a high dose. It's very, very low, and it may take a year or two, but you can cause neurological damage and cancers with low-level microwaves, and you can make all your opponents sick. It's a perfect weapon for a government.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
Yes, 5G will connect the Internet of everything. If something can be connected, it will be connected in a 5G world. Hundreds of billions of microchips connected in products from pill bottles to plant waterers, requiring massive deployment of small cells. We won't wait for the standards. Now, to make this work, the 5G build-out is going to be very infrastructure intensive. We must reject the notion that the 5G future will be the sole provenance of urban areas. The 5G revolution will touch all corners, and that's damn important. The interconnected world of the future will be the result of decisions we must make today.
Music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, if I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that.
The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna.
The sad reality is that where we now play our music is in A440. Where did that come from? It used to be 417. A440 came in with the Roman Catholic Church. They suppressed the frequencies. They lost somehow the 152 of the best Gregorian chants, including the hymn to St. John the Baptist, which we've now recovered. That particular hymn was what triggered Dr. Palaio's investigation, looking for those frequencies of vibration by which the music was played. It was known as the most uplifting hymn of all the ages, the most spiritually uplifting hymn. Hymn to St. John the Baptist. It was played to 6 tones. These are those 6 tones. These are those 6 frequencies. And so the A440 is what now is the standard tuning. If you go A439, you're closer to one of the Creator's tones. If you go A441, you're closer to one of the Creator's original tones. That's how precisely it has been manipulated. To do what? To shut down the 95% of your brain, particularly the right brain that operates the heart-mind for the divine human community.
Some decades ago, there was a guy who worked out the frequencies of different emotional states. This is long ago. I mean, it's very, very sophisticated now. So every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
When you go driving your car and your channel on the radio is tuned to a station and you're grooving to the music, you love that music. As you get farther and farther away from the broadcasting tower, that music gets static. You start to lose the signal from the clear channel, broadcast, and it gets staticky. When it gets staticky, you get a little annoyed. But you want to listen to it. You really have a heart for that music, so you continue to listen to it for another 10, 15 miles, and suddenly it becomes so annoying that you just get disgusted, you go, ah, and you shut it off. And if you continue to listen to it, you get sick. That's what we're talking about here. Except you don't even know that you've been listening to the static your whole life. You don't even know what the true resonant frequency is because it has been kept from you.
Now, of course, to really be effective, we need to use the proper words and phrases, scientifically selected. But that gives you the basic idea. We embed messages just below the threshold of perception, so they can go directly into the subconscious.
They can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect, and it starts to build rage, it starts to build anger, and people might not realize why they're feeling it, but they start feeling. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event. Maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit, and now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper's been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage, and you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do.
So in other words, the master composer, master conductor of the Universal Orchestra is singing love songs in 5/8, uplifting everything simultaneously. And we're the only species out of tune and accepting static for the clear channel.
Do you know that the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit, so they give up and put their weapons down. This is the technology we're dealing with.
So I can't say it, but I'm telling you, I know what's going to happen next. How much metal you have in your body will affect you when this thing happens. It has to do with frequency. Okay, so that I stay safe and I can come back and I stay alive, I want to tell you something. I will give you a hint of what he showed me. It's going to happen, and you have to get rid of these metals in your body. And it could happen tomorrow, it could happen, but they're going to say it's something else. You're going to have to do your own thinking about this. I don't want to get in trouble, but just stick a piece of foil in a microwave and picture that in your body. And now you know the devil's plan. The bottom line is you got to get this out of your body.
Our bodies are electromagnetic phenomena. We've got electrolytes and our nerves are functioning like that, the blood, everything. Electrolytes in our blood, carrying electrical impulses. Our heart is, we have electromagnetic pulse. Brain, everything's got that. When the heart's operating functionally, the rhythm is, and we like to keep the rhythm what we call normal sinus rhythm. That means the electrical impulse starts in a particular part of the heart and is carried down, which stimulates the pump, If that electrical pattern gets off and the heart starts going, you won't be alive. And if it slows down, you won't be alive. So the heart is functional at a specific electromagnetic frequency, set of frequencies. So now, here we are, being bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies. When electromagnetic frequencies are in a certain pattern, so that they have a function, they're functional, they're said to be coherent or harmonic. Incoherent means that you've got waves that are peak, they have their troughs and peaks at different functions. They become incoherent and they don't function. So you can send in an incoherent message into a waveform and break up and lose the transmission. And that's what happens. We're being bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies of all different, from microwaves to all sorts of frequencies that are continually requiring our bodies to compensate, to maintain coherence, and to maintain, thereby to maintain functionality.
100 years ago, Holy Rosary was one of the tallest buildings in the city. Today, it's lost in a concrete forest. If the ringing could be heard in Hillcrest, nearly 40 blocks away, then the acoustic profile of the bells has shrunk to less than a tenth of what it was. But this is only part of the story. The sound of city streets in Vancouver was entirely different a century ago. The only moving pictures from those days, shot from the front of a streetcar, are silent. But with the same technology used to create movie soundtracks, it is possible to experience what the city sounded like in 1906, when the bells were new.
I'm trying to make people jump into the scene and live the scene. So I thought, well, maybe what we'll do is we will play a bit of the scene, look at around us, and see what we hear.
This is only 2 blocks away from the Holy Rosary bells, so have you tried putting those in?
Oh, for sure.
Right. Notice how they're really audible over everything else. That kind of traffic didn't dominate like it does now. I mean, this is all on a very human scale. Watching all those people racing across the street, it looks actually positively dangerous. Right. So they obviously are relying on their ears as well as their eyes to tell them what was going on. The sounds are clear and distinct, and it isn't dominated by just one sound, such as traffic would be today.
The point, according to Truax, is that cities have always been loud. But back in the day, it was a loud you could live with. Take a tour of Venice, and you'll hear what cities sounded like before the Industrial Revolution. Once you get away from the Vaporetto transit boats and slide into the narrow little canals called rios, you hear what the world sounded like before internal combustion. Instead of gasoline and diesel engines, you hear voices and footsteps. But even here, sound has long had an uncanny power over people's lives.
And as it turns out, people were constantly listening to their city, and this came as a huge surprise, that they were listening to their buildings, they were listening to the way in which the city talked to them in various ways.
Art historian Neil Atkinson is fascinated with the way sound organized the workday. Long before radio, TV, and the internet, and even Holy Rosary in Vancouver, bells were a primary means of communication. Before people had watches, the sound of bells controlled their every waking moment. And it wasn't just the church that rang them.
The big marangona that rings in that tower that signifies that the dock workers have to be in the arsenale. Or during the day, bells will ring to make sure that magistrates are in their council halls, that lawyers and jurists are in the courts. By the time that the bells finish, everyone has to be in place. So there's this kind of acoustic organization or choreography to the daily rhythms of the city.
The same was true in other Renaissance cities such as Florence. Here, the city's first town hall had its own bell tower to rival the ringing from the church's main cathedral.
The government's bell had to be the biggest and the loudest. Big enough and loud enough from a tower high enough in order to establish their legitimacy and authority over the city. So what the regime was doing was acoustically trying to insert itself into the sounds that the Christian church had been making for centuries.
But it wasn't just City Hall and the church that wanted to control sound. In 1378, wool workers who toiled at looms like these, who had no voice in government, launched a revolution by seizing control of the bells.
Within a few minutes, 8 bell towers around the periphery of Florence were ringing to signal and coordinate what turned out to be one of the first, if not the first, successful worker revolution in Europe.
Having hijacked the bells, as many as 10,000 workers swarmed into the public square outside City Hall to voice their demands.
And this is exactly what happened in Tahrir Square in 2011, when Egyptians gathered in the square who wouldn't stop making noise, who would not leave.
The bells were the Twitter of their day.
The sound of the crowd penetrated the walls of the palace, so much so that the government gave up. They came down, they handed the keys to the palace, and they literally went home. The people had finally won.
Noise is a natural byproduct of human activity. So silence, or the use of quieter technology, has become a valuable commodity in our loud cities.
From a distance, you can't hear us at all. You can't smell us either.
Sheldon Wright out of Vancouver has created a landscaping company that works entirely without gasoline-powered tools.
Back in the bad old days, we used to be covered in two-stroke and you're in a wall of sound all the time and covered in dust. Now you're just covered in dust.
At first, Rideout's new company did everything by hand. Then, technology changed.
The electric equipment we have is all lithium battery powered, so we've almost got the Teslas of lawnmower equipment.
This equipment does make noise, but only half as much as internal combustion engines.
What I heard on a regular basis was we're so tired of the noise. We're tired of the smell. We're tired of our entire day being interrupted when a landscape maintenance company shows up. You're not going to get away from noise, but anything that can be done to reduce it, it helps with stress levels.
What we're talking about affects everyone. Whether you say, oh, I can get used to it, it doesn't bother me, or something like that, but it always has an effect, both physiologically, psychologically, and in terms of communication. It's, in many cases, the soundscape that gives you a quality of life.
What if sound were your primary means of finding food? Your main method of survival? That's how it is for big brown bats.
Bats are really neat animals, and they have to be able to do everything without relying on vision.
James Simmons, a professor of biology at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, is setting up a maze of plastic chains. He and postdoc Kelsey Hom are testing the ability of bats to navigate with sound, to help improve sonar navigation by humans.
Bats are very comfortable flying through the branches and leaves of vegetation. And while they're doing this, they're looking for insects. And they're flying several meters per second.
So the experiment uses a slow-motion camera and simulates the bat's natural environment.
So the way we thought to do this is to replace the vegetation with these black plastic hanging chains. You get something acoustically very similar to a whole field of vegetation.
Because the sound a bat makes is beyond the range of human hearing, Simmons uses an ultrasound detector to convert the signals to a frequency we can hear. Simmons is particularly interested in how a bat's brain is able to process sound signals and perform complex mathematics at extremely high speeds.
So the bats emit sounds and do lots of fast computations in the brain about the arrival time of the echoes coming from different distances. And the trick of sonar is to be able to do these computations quickly enough that you can see the scene before you emit the next sound. We can't do that with our digital computers because they're not fast enough.
The fascinating discovery is that bats actually form 3D images based on sonar echoes.
When we see something with vision, we see color and we see texture and lots of things like that. The sonar image that a bat gets of an insect is stripped down to only 3 or 4 body parts. The bat will aim its sound at the insect and get a bunch of echoes from the different parts of the target. But when it's chasing the insect, it doesn't go straight toward it. It follows a curved path so that each time it emits the sound, it's getting a slightly different angular view of the target. And by rotating this way, the bat gets to see the parts of the object in their real 3-dimensional locations. Bats actually see with sound.
Perhaps even more astonishing is the fact that some humans are able to do the same thing.
So we've got a tree here. I'll turn here.
By 13 months of age, Daniel Kish had lost both eyes to a cancer called retinoblastoma. Instinctively, he soon began to make clicking sounds and started to echolocate just like bats do. Those clicks you hear are from his mouth, not the tapping of his cane.
Big open area, but we're approaching a structure.
He calls this flash sonar. Flash sonar has become Kish's primary means of navigation.
So in my case, it wasn't something I was really aware of. It just happened as a consequence of my childhood experiences. I get an image that occurs in a 360-degree field.
But the roof structure we're under isn't totally solid somehow. It's got openings in it, as if it were slatted or...
I describe them as fuzzy geometry, moving, dynamic figures. They have depth and contour and character, and they provide me with information about location, density, and you can also kind of hear things around corners, and you can hear things through objects. So, you know, it almost has this kind of omnipresence about it. As a kid, I was raised to think of myself as pretty unremarkable. My parents, their emphasis, their regard for me was you're a kid like any other kid.
He got his first bicycle at the age of 6.
I learned to click like a maniac, and I learned to ride around the neighborhood. And if I ran into a pole, my parents just didn't make a big deal out of it. Running into a pole is a drag, but never being allowed to run into a pole is a disaster.
Riding a bike blind has become a kind of stunt he does to raise awareness that the brain can adapt and that people can do far more than they realize.
Years ago, it was just unheard of. So if you'd all close your eyes for just a moment, okay? And you're going to learn a bit of flash sonar. Now, you have scientists studying it, you have instructors wanting to learn it, you have instructors wanting to teach it, you have blind people wanting to learn it. Being able to navigate comfortably in any environment, under any circumstances, nothing can be more fundamental to freedom than being able to do that.
We asked him to draw a picture, to recreate from memory the image he got from nothing more than the sound of clicks.
I'll just do a little dashed line here.
And remember, he had never set foot in this pavilion before today.
And then we had another column kind of across the way here. Definitely taxing my artistic merits here. Should I say ta-da? Ta-da!
The accuracy of the image is uncanny.
It shows that there's an actual imaging process taking place. You're using sound instead of light to create a picture. Okay. Well, I was right about the roof.
So humans can see with sound just like bats. But bats have an advantage. They aren't affected by noise. Back at Brown University in Providence, Professor Simmons explains that bats normally live in a very loud world.
The sonar sounds of many bats are 120 to 130 decibels of sound. You have 50 bats all flying around in the same small space. All the bats in that space are exposing themselves to this intense sound. And they appear not to suffer the noise-induced hearing loss that follows that, something that we would normally suffer. And we need to find out what it is they're doing to protect themselves.
In the course of a human lifetime, loud sounds cause physical damage to the inner ear. Tiny hair cells in the cochlea convert sound waves to electrical signals that go to the brain. The cells most prone to noise-induced damage are the ones that act like an amplifier for soft sounds.
With hearing loss, people who have cochlear damage, those outer hair cells get damaged, so you lose the amplifier. Basically, you lose the knob for turning it up on your stereo system.
But noise-induced hearing loss is only part of the problem. As we age, the brain's processing of audio signals slows down, making speech harder to understand. So it's not just a question of turning up the volume.
Our auditory system is able to pick up little small gaps in speech. A common example is the word say versus stay. The difference between say and stay is actually a little pause right when the T happens. These are actually scalp recordings that we record through EEG. On the right here, we have a 16 millisecond gap, and it would be akin to trying to process the sound stay. There's a little gap when the T happens.
With age-related hearing loss, these gaps are harder to detect, so T's and other consonants become muddy.
So you can hear, A, E, I, O, U, but you're having trouble with the consonants that surround those vowels.
At the University of South Florida in Tampa, scientists are testing a new drug that might help. In a study that began with mice, they learned that the drug can improve sound perception by stimulating nerve channels in the brain.
There are little channels that process potassium. Nerve cells rely on the proper concentration of potassium.
The new drug adds potassium to these sound processing channels.
As you age, the number of these channels declines. The drug will increase the activity or the effectiveness of the remaining channels.
We are ready to do some EEG testing. This is where we're going to...
After the Florida team successfully tested the drug on mice, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a Phase 2 clinical trial on humans.
What we're going to do is put this electrode cap on. He's going to listen to some sound sources, and what we really want to see is changes in the central auditory processing.
As they screen potential patients for the drug trial, they're looking for people who have a hard time detecting those sound gaps, who have a hard time hearing consonants and understanding words, especially in a noisy background.
And whenever you hear that rare, high-pitched beep, I just want you to hit the space bar for me, okay?
Because the drug is designed to make speech clearer, not louder.
That would be the home run for this study, if it actually improved their ability to hear speech and understand speech and background noise.
In the future, a pill may repair hearing loss. The future of sound even looks like magic. Sound waves from a bank of speakers can levitate solid objects. By focusing sound from opposite directions, researchers have created what are known as standing waves that can actually suspend objects in midair. Floating 3D graphics, microgravity, and drug research are some of the possible future applications. Sound has already transformed medical science when researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston married an MRI scanner to an ultrasound device. Everyone knows ultrasound as the imaging tool for expecting couples. This team is using sound to burn away tumors, a form of surgery without a cut or a single drop of blood.
So we're about to start the procedure. We're going to treat your uterine fibroid by focusing the ultrasound beam into tissue, somewhat akin to the way we would do with a lens and the sunlight. Sound waves will cause a local vibration of the molecules in the tissue. That motion causes local heating, and that heating therefore can kill the cells in that area. So the thermometry is the really key part that the MRI brings to this procedure that no other imaging tool can do. We're seeing in real time the signal intensity changes. You see how this area has become white, but that shows me that that's exactly where the energy is being deposited inside her fibroid. Once we get above 55 degrees C, the cells are dead.
But this is just the beginning. MRI-guided focused ultrasound can take away the pain of bone cancer. There are clinical trials with prostate cancer and breast cancer and many more.
The most exciting one right now that's in clinical trial is the one that's actually being used to stop intentional tremor. So intentional tremor is when patients develop like this, what I'm doing with my hand, and are unable to write or eat or feed themselves. And this technique, when targeted to the correct part of the brain, stops that tremor immediately. With this technique, they can now use a transducer around the head and allow the ultrasound enter the brain non-invasively. And that's leading to some very exciting applications.
For example, in Brisbane, Australia, another form of ultrasound is being tested for treatment of Alzheimer's disease. Jürgen Goetz and Gerhard Leininger set up an experiment using mice born with a gene mutation that produces the amyloid plaque associated with Alzheimer's. As naturally curious animals, normal wild mice will explore all three parts of a Y maze. But mice with Alzheimer's can't remember where they've been before and tend to explore the same area over and over again. Pulses of ultrasound gently open the barrier that protects the brain from infection, allowing a protein from the blood to stimulate waste removal cells that clear out the toxic clumps of plaque.
We use pulsed ultrasound, and because it's pulsed, the tissue is not heating up.
After the ultrasound treatment, when the mice enter the maze again, they're able to explore just as well as healthy mice.
And the nice thing is, we show a restoration of memory functions. So basically, we are able to restore memory functions to what one finds in non-Alzheimer's mice. And I'm highly confident that what we have found in mice can eventually be translated into humans.
So the sound we can't hear is curing disease, and the sound we can hear shaped our history, brings harmony to the structures we build, helps us navigate the natural world, and creates fascinating geometry that may hold the key to other mysteries. Sonic magic, indeed.
People naturally pay attention to sounds that are similar to human voices. Even though humans can hear sounds between 20 and 20,000 hertz, the most important sounds for talking aren't at the very high or very low ends of this range. The average pitch of a man's voice is around 110 hertz. Is there something special about this pitch? People from long ago thought so, and they built certain structures to make sounds at this pitch stand out. For instance, there's a place called the Oracle Chamber in the Hypogeum in Malta. It was built between 3500 and 2500 BC, and it was made to make sounds at 110 Hz sound really good. When people chanted or sang there during ceremonies, it had a strong effect because of how the room carried the sound. People from ancient times knew a lot about how our brains react to these sounds, and we can now prove it with today's technology. A study looked at what happens when our brains hear sounds at 110 Hz, and it found that this made the front part of our brains more active. This could help with dealing with emotions and making us feel relaxed. It's amazing to see how much these ancient people understood about how sound can affect our feelings, our brains, and even our healing. For sure, sounds have both subtle and big effects on how our body feels, how we think, and who we are deep inside. But there's still a question. How exactly does sound help us get better? Just like an orchestra, you can tune your body. Have you ever seen the orchestra getting ready to play an exciting symphony? Chaos ensues, with woodwinds, strings, horns, and timpani creating a joyful commotion. However, as they meticulously align their instruments, a harmonious resonance envelops you like a gentle wave, bestowing a sense of serenity and enthusiasm that surpasses even the most exhilarating activities on the planet, akin to skydiving or descending 45 feet into a concealed cavern. Like an orchestra, the human body possesses an intricate symphony of elements that can be harmoniously tuned to achieve optimal well-being. Every system, from the beating heart to the firing neurons, functions like musical instruments, contributing to the grand composition of life. Like a conductor, guiding musicians to create a harmonious melody, individuals can learn to tune their bodies through conscious efforts. Just as an orchestra requires the right balance and coordinations of instruments to produce a masterpiece, our bodies thrive when each organ and system resonates perfectly. This metaphorical tuning involves more than just physical aspects. It extends to emotional, mental, and spiritual dimensions. Aligning thoughts and emotions with positive frequencies can create a resonance that promotes vitality and health. By recognizing the significance of nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, and self-care, individuals can fine-tune their bodies to function optimally, just as a skilled musician tunes their instrument. Just as a conductor refines the performance of an orchestra, taking charge of our health and well-being empowers us to conduct the symphony of life with grace and vibrancy, producing a beautiful and balanced existence. Sound is not unorganized chaos. It is a dynamic but ordered pattern. Dr. Hans Jenny.
The concept of sound or music or any of these type of things is as old practically as man himself.
Think about your body like a team. Each part, like an organ or a system, has its job, like a player with their music. But if one player doesn't play well with the others, it can lead to problems. Just like when an organ doesn't work well with the rest of the body, it can make you sick. According to Dr. Hans Jenny, sound transcends the realm of unorganized chaos, revealing itself as a captivating symphony of dynamic yet meticulously ordered patterns. Through his pioneering research and experiments, Dr. Jenny unraveled the intricate tapestry of sound, demonstrating that it possesses an inherent structure and purpose.
But in cymatic therapy, we have adapted it into the modern idiom, and now it is used in a technological way, which is scientifically approved.
In his endeavors, he harnessed the power of cymatics, revealing how sound frequencies manifest as tangible forms and shapes, reflecting the underlying harmony that governs the universe. In the wake of Dr. Jenny's revelations, the conventional perception of sound underwent a profound transformation. No longer mere auditory sensations, sound emerged as intricate blueprints, a sonic architecture that shapes reality.
You can see all this and watch it before your eyes. Everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound.
Dr. Jenny's work illuminated the deep connection between sound and geometry. This connection has echoed throughout ancient cultures where sound was revered as a primordial force of creation. Through Dr. Jenny's lens, the concept of chaos dissolved into the symmetrical dance of frequencies. The vibrations that traverse space and time, orchestrating the cosmic ballet, are not random, but are choreographed with precision. Just as a composer crafts a symphony, sound engineers the symphony of existence, weaving together threads of harmony and resonance. Jenny's insight reverberates through science, art, and spirituality, underscoring that sound is a conduit between the seen and the unseen. It invites contemplation on the profound influence of sound on our thoughts, emotions, and physical reality. Each sound wave, each note, carries the potential to shape and transform, resonating with the very essence of creation. Dr. Hans Jenny's legacy extends beyond his time, urging us to recognize sound's inherent order and transformative potential.
Sound is the factor which holds it together. Sound is the basis of form and shape.
In his revelation that sound is a dynamic but ordered pattern, he beckons us to listen with fresh ears, attune ourselves to the cosmos symphony, and embrace the harmony that underscores our existence. As sound therapist, Dr. John Beaulieu, ND, PhD, explains the fundamental principle of energy medicine is that an underlying energy field generates physical, emotional, and mental behaviors or symptoms. If we change the energy field, the physical, emotional, and mental behaviors will also change. One of the highly efficient methods for altering the energy field involves using a scientific discipline called cymatics. While he wasn't the initial individual to uncover the potential of sound for healing, Dr. Hans Jenny conducted a series of captivating experiments that provided a visual insight into sound mechanics. Dr. Jenny pioneered the field of cymatics by placing sound liquids or various powders onto a metal plate affixed to an oscillator. This oscillator essentially acted as a vibrator, yet it was governed by a generator capable of generating an extensive array of frequencies numbering in the thousands. Among these frequencies, certain ones are inherent, while humans intentionally craft others. Through manipulating frequencies on the oscillator, Jenny made a significant discovery that the sand water, or whichever substance served as a tangible medium for his sound experiments, underwent captivating transformations. These metamorphoses mirrored the characteristics of sacred geometry, with the intricacy of the shapes increasing in tandem with higher frequencies.
And to end with, here, by way of contrast, is a sonorous figure, a static figure instead of a dynamic one, representing the opposite pole in the vast range of phenomena that make up the world of vibration.
He wrote, "Since the various aspects of these phenomena are due to vibration, we are confronted with a spectrum which reveals a patterned, figurative formation at one pole and kinetic dynamic processes at the other, the whole being generated and sustained by its essential periodicity." Jenny's observations essentially provided a straightforward means of witnessing the animation of matter. With our current comprehension informed by the burgeoning realm of quantum physics, we recognize that patterns materialize through energy waves. The plates served as a visual manifestation of a comparable phenomenon for the scientist. In ancient Sumerian culture, this concept was well established. It's the rationale behind the reverence for practices like mantras. Consider the seed syllable Om, which induces a specific frequency to embed itself into the surrounding substance, thereby altering the energetic framework.
The human voice can also be made visible with a simple apparatus. The Various vowels show typical characteristics depending on the nature of their sound.
Waves become matter. The Tibetans possessed analog knowledge of sound science and engaged in the recitation of 5 seed syllables intended for purifying the mind. Similarly, monks who practiced Gregorian-style chanting were also aware of this therapeutic potential. The kind of singing that we do calms the spirit and helps us live in peace with our world and with one another, says Abbot Philip Lawrence, a scholar of Chan who also leads the Monastery of Christ in the desert home to an American order of Benedictine monks from Abiquiu, New Mexico. Chanting has some strange effect on the brain waves according to various studies, continues Abbot Philip, but this effect is certainly not the monks of the desert's objective. Instead, their goal and that of Gregorian chant, notes Abbot Philip, is to focus on the words rather than the challenge of voice production or sight reading. It is always our hope that our singing will bring others peace, inner tranquility, and an appreciation of beauty. These values can help create a world in which peace and tranquility prevail. Given that all matter constitutes distinct frequencies emanating from the collapsed wave or quantum field, we possess the capacity to shape an alternative reality through sound. The potential for profound healing becomes evident within the realm of sound science. The portrayal of the Sri Yantra, a mandala materialized through sound and believed to have been envisioned by a yogi during profound meditation, serves as a depiction of one of the most ancient sounds known. It is sometimes referred to as an embodiment of divine resonance. The triangles that manifest within the Sri Yantra exhibit impeccable harmony owing to their alignment with the divine number pi, which also underpins the golden ratio phi. The Greek philosopher Pythagoras possessed insights into both sound and sacred geometry, concepts expounded upon in works such as Euclid's Elements around 300 BC, Luca Pacioli's De Divina Proportione in 1509, and Johannes Kepler's Contributions circa 1600. Throughout history, numerous individuals have been acquainted with this profound cosmic mathematics and its intrinsic healing potential. The harmonics of sound function to instill organization amid disorder. Disease, one could argue, represents a manifestation of chaos within the body. Dr. Robert Friedman said the connection between the golden ratio and ideal health was a no-brainer. Throughout his medical residency in the 1980s, Dr. Friedman commenced the observation of the golden ratio across various dimensions of the human body, ranging from anatomical and physiological aspects to molecular levels. The deeper I looked, said Friedman, the more deeply I discovered this incredible and ubiquitous code to be embedded throughout the structure and function of the body. It only followed that the more one could harmonize with this grand principle, the more efficient and effortless life could be. What is illness? Emotional issues that are unresolved block the healing vibrations or cause the disease state to return. R. Gordon. Throughout millennia, those who delved into the realm of sound science have gained insights into specific frequencies that possess potent healing qualities for the human body. In essence, the objective is to establish resonance. Healing frequencies are specific vibrations of sound that have the potential to promote wellness and balance within the body and mind. These frequencies are believed to interact with the body's natural energy systems, helping to alleviate stress, stimulate healing processes, and restore harmony. Different frequencies are associated with various therapeutic effects such as cellular regeneration, emotional release, and heightened awareness. By resonating with these frequencies, individuals aim to tap into the innate ability of sound to support overall health and well-being. Richard Gordon states, "When two systems are oscillating at different frequencies, there's an impelling force called resonance that causes the two to transfer energy from one to another. When two similarly tuned systems vibrate at different frequencies, there is another aspect of this energy transfer called entrainment, which causes them to line up and to vibrate at the same frequency. When we entrain ourselves with healing frequencies, our bodies and minds synchronize into harmonious vibrations. Some of these frequencies encompass 285 Hz, initiate cellular and tissue healing, imparting a sense of rejuvenation to the body. 396 Hz releases guilt and fear, creating space for elevated emotions to flourish. 417 Hz facilitates the process of undoing difficult circumstances. 528 Hz believed to mend DNA, restore cellular health, and stimulate heightened consciousness. 639 Hz corresponds to the heart's vibration, fostering self-love and unity beyond self and other distinctions. This frequency can aid in harmonizing relationships when listened to. 741 Hz purported to cleanse and heal cells affected by electromagnetic radiation, facilitating a transition towards empowerment and the ability to manifest desired realities. 852 Hz invokes intuition and heightened awareness. 963 Hz stimulates the pineal gland and aligns the body with its pristine, original state. It's worth noting that there are additional frequencies, some of which fall outside the range of human auditory perception, yet possess healing properties nonetheless. George Lakovsky, a Russian engineer, also comprehended the potency of sound. He recognized that specific frequencies had the capacity to enhance the vitality of living organisms. I trust that you find solace and restoration within the frequencies I've outlined, and I hope this introduction to the healing potential of sound encourages you to delve further into the subject. At the root of all power and motion, there is music and rhythm, the play of patterned frequencies against the matrix of time. We know that every particle in the physical universe takes its characteristics from the pitch and pattern and overtones of its particular frequencies. It's singing. Before we make music, music makes us. Joachim Ernst Berendt. The world is sound.
There was a classified project called Operation Spectrum, using ultrasonic and electromagnetic frequencies to subtly influence people's thoughts, emotions, and actions, all without them realizing it. Certain frequencies have been found to cause everything from mild anxiety and discomfort to calmness and even compliance. By adjusting the frequency output, they can make a crowd restless, focused, or subdued, all without a single word. Theoretically, this could be used on mobile emitters, devices embedded in street lights, traffic cameras, and even cell towers. These emitters would be capable of influencing whole neighborhoods at once, creating moods or reactions in the population without anyone noticing, using frequencies to calm crowds or disperse them without force.
The data we're going to look at are all published science, testing results, or public standards. At the bottom end of the radiation scale of what's called power density or signal strength is the minimum level at which cell phones will work, which was found to be 0.2 billionths of a microwatt per centimeter squared. Pine needles were found to age prematurely at 0.000027. At short-term exposures of 0.05, children aged 8 to 17 experienced headache, irritation, concentration difficulties, and behavioral problems. 0.1 is the biobiology or building biology guideline for extreme concern. 1.0 produced sperm DNA fragmentation and a decrease in sperm viability in vitro. Also at 1.0, the science shows the following bodily effects can occur: headaches, dizziness, fatigue, insomnia, chest pain, difficulty breathing, and indigestion. 2.5 saw altered calcium metabolism in heart muscle cells. 4.0, changes in the hippocampus affecting brain memory and learning. And at 6.0, DNA damage in cells. So, where are smart meters on this list? Electrical Power Institute in December 2010 measured a single Itron smart meter with pulses up to 7.93 microwatts per centimeter squared. Our own testing indicated approximately 8.0 with 1 meter. These tests are at a close distance, approximately 1 foot away from the meter, but an infant's crib can be just as close on the other side of the wall where the meter or bank of meters are installed. Even though there are all these known health effects at levels far lower, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg see fit to set the standard at 9.5. And China, Poland, and Russia, 10.0. This is the same level at which behavior has been altered, producing reflexes of avoidance following 30-minute exposures. A room of 12 smart meters, a very common and even a conservative number in an apartment building, tested at 19.8 microwatts per centimeter squared. This is hundreds of times higher than levels which clearly indicate harmful effects. So, how can utilities and governments get away with forcing these devices on everyone? This is how. In Canada and the US and several other civilized countries, the safety limit is set at 600 to 1,000 microwatts per centimeter squared. This so-called safety limit is literally tens of thousands of times higher than levels which are known to damage health, according to peer-reviewed published science.
Faster, better, more reliable internet. That's the promise of 5G technology, but there is also the peril. Health hazards associated with radio frequency that is higher also and requires more transmitters and antennas.
The film you're about to see has no characters. If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter. existence solely and completely to sound.
But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way.
she can't